All right, you're listening to another episode of Tyler Talks to Strangers, the podcast where I attempt to better understand the world around me by understanding those who inhabit it with me. Everyone has a story, but I just have so many questions. All right, right to it here. Got this guy on. His screen name is Moose, so that's kind of cool already. I already like this guy. Let's start kind of at the beginning, as we do. If you had to describe your life story in about 2 to 3 minutes, the significant bullet points of how you got onto a Zoom chat talking to a stranger today, how would you do it, sir?
Okay. I think looking back at my life to this point, to me, it's really a story about coming home to myself. I think, I grew up in LA, which is a pretty mixed up city, and I grew up in a mixed up family, ethnically, racially,
Mm-hmm.
and my family was kind of dysfunctional, so I had a lot of trauma there, and I kind of escaped from there to New York for a while. I wanted to be a writer. Um, I took a bad detour into addiction,
Okay.
and then I got myself out of that 12 years ago today, in fact.
Wow.
Um,
That's amazing. Today?
yeah, thank
Oh
you.
my
Yeah, just
gosh.
today. Yeah,
Congratulations. That's amazing.
thank you.
Yeah.
I got back to LA. I got married. That relationship turned out to be equal parts good and also another different form of trauma.
Mm,
And that ended about a year and a half ago, and I've
okay.
just been back on this path of self-discovery.
Mm-hmm. So,
So it's been a long it's been a long journey, and it's still going.
yeah. Are you still writing through this whole process, or how are you kind of dealing
Oh
with the
yeah,
whole?
yeah. I put out a self-published couple of books
Cool.
while I was still married a few years ago, and I've been writing a script for somebody else I got hired to do, and working on another book of my own. So yeah, definitely writing.
So that's kind of your comfort. That's just you always go back to the pen and all that kind of stuff. That's your way to process stuff.
Yeah, I think it's my way of looking at my life and looking at the world and other people. It's
Hmm.
easier to understand things as a narrative.
Wow, I think that's a very powerful thing. Joseph Campbell, the hero with 1,000 faces, right? The hero's journey. I think humans just also like in any culture really relate to that kind of narrative story and arc and myth and whatever creation myths and all that kind of thing. So I think there is something intrinsic about storytelling to the human race for whatever reason. I think there's something really deep there, to be honest.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it's because we always take this journey. So like our
Hmm.
life is one journey from, wherever you see it, like between where I am and where I want to get to, but
Right.
also just on a day-to-day level, like you take that journey when you leave your house, go through whatever the day takes you, and you come home again.
You're
So
right.
we replicate this pattern on so many different levels.
Sure. Absolutely. It's like Groundhog Day. Hopefully it's not the same every day, but hopefully you throw a little bit of randomness in there, just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good way to put it. Every day is a new story, new day, new challenge that waits, I guess. I have a saying that I kind of like. It's based on a Lao Tzu quote, he who conquers others is strong, he who conquers himself is mighty. So I think that's like my daily challenge is to conquer myself every day, whether it's in a workout, whether it's, talking to a stranger, whether it's stepping out of the comfort zone somehow. I think that daily reminder to challenge yourself in that way is super important. But cool. All right. And then if you could extrapolate out the next, let's say 3 years, if the perfect story was written into your timeline from this day into the next 3 years, what would you want to have accomplished? What are you excited about right now?
Well, three things. I'm about to embark on an adventure and hit the Pacific Crest Trail.
No way.
Yeah. And that to me is like a big step into, I mean, you talk about outside of my comfort zones. It's a
Right.
step into, you know, uh, just putting myself into a challenge that I've never faced before.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I got research books to read while I'm out there for the next book I want to write. So when I get home, that's going to be priority. I have this major work plan that the story I've been thinking about for literally like 2 decades.
Right.
And now I'm at the place to write it. And that's going to be my next,
Wow.
it's going to be the next couple of years.
That's amazing. So was the plan always to do the PCT at some point, or is this based on a writing that you want to have done because of like how did the whole like thing originate in your mind?
I learned about it when I was in my 20s, and I
Okay.
thought, two things immediately, like, I have to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't do this. And those two thoughts just battled for
Yeah,
years,
right,
and
right.
like now I'm kind of fulfilling that promise to that younger
Yes.
guy.
That's an awesome thing to do. I recently did something like that. We have very similar goals, I think, because I do want to do the PCT at some point as well. But when I was 19, I distinctly remember seeing a Hawaii Ironman triathlon, the
Mhm.
Ironman distance triathlon, and just being like, one day I'm going to do an Ironman, like I don't know when. And then it just so happened when I was 29, 10 years later, I had a classmate reach out to me. He was also into fitness, and he's like, he wanted to do one at some point too. I didn't know that he did, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna do Ironman, like we should train together. And I was like, well, I guess that's my New Year's resolution. This is perfect. So
Yeah,
10 years to the date of that 19-year-old Tyler saying I'm going to do an Ironman, I completed one. And so that's pretty awesome. But
that's
I
pretty
do
cool,
want to do
man.
the PCT as well. Are you gonna do it in one shot? Or are you gonna break the PCT up into like like chunks of
No, my goal is to
Mexico, the
go. My goal is
Oregon?
to go and do it until I'm done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Champ. Very cool. Are you gonna do like, you got to do like the shipments of like food and shoes and all that maybe ahead of
Do
time?
you
How?
know what? I read all those different
Yeah.
strategies, and I
Okay.
decided to chuck it all because,
Really?
yeah, some vets I talked to who are like, hey, you know
Yeah.
what? You don't have to do anything.
Ah,
And I thought
true.
I love the improvisational nature of that. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a true adventure. Then I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. So you're going, I like that. There's a whole Reddit forum called Ultra Light, and it's all about doing, I think, long distance hikes with as minimal pack as possible, right? So like a
Yeah.
13-pound pack for the PCT is all someone took, basically. And they do it very fast, because they're gonna die if they don't finish it fast.
Right.
But that's one strategy that I'm aware of. So yeah, that's super interesting that you're gonna kind of just, that is something me and my buddy Kareem would probably do, is just for the adventure, just don't plan as much as possible and just get there and figure it out. That's how most of my life is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mm,
like to leave room. Yeah, you have an outline for a story, but it's very broad, so you leave room for surprises, and
right.
that seems to be becoming my general life philosophy.
I could see that. I could see that. There's a really good author, English fellow, I think, Bill Bryson. He wrote a Walk in the Woods
Walk in the
about
woods.
the
Yeah, I know that
Appalachian
book.
Trail. So
Yeah.
that's pretty solid. I read most of that last year. So very cool. Looking forward to your works on the whole take, your journey and realizations from the whole thing. So
Thank you.
very cool. All right. Well, let's jump into the main questions here. The first one is going to be a would you rather question. First one's going to be, would you rather have a mansion and no yard, or a tiny house and 100 acres of land?
Oh, that's easy. I take the land any day.
I kind of figured you're a land guy. You're PCT, open spaces. It's a land guy right here. Wow,
Yeah.
tiny house and land. Yeah, I guess you could just build a bigger house eventually. Yeah. That's,
Or take the land and just pitch a tent, dude. Don't even like
wow.
don't
Okay,
even
you're
sweat it,
you're a tent guy. I like this. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, that's very cool. I think I would probably do the exact same thing. I would live in an RV now, so I'm kind of
Mhm.
doing the tiny house thing, because I've been bouncing around different states and working as a PT. So I've kind of been exploring the travel trailer life, and it's been good. It's like a newer model, but we'll probably do it for another year while I save up for something where I am
Mhm.
now. But that's very cool. Have you read I always think of, like, is it Walden?
Thoreau's book.
Thoreau's book. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Have you read that? I'm sure you've
Yeah, it's been a while,
familiar.
but I did read that in school, and
Okay.
I really liked it.
Yeah, something about return to simplicity, and I guess there's a little bit more to the backstory. Like, his mom was still doing his laundry
Yeah.
while he was in the woods for 2 years. So like it wasn't totally rugged, but still he tried, it's great.
He
So
was having a late teenage rebellion, I think,
right.
but I think his motivations were admirable.
Yes, I do. I think his ratty is pretty awesome. And Ralph Waldo Emerson. I get those guys mixed up all the time, but pretty cool. Okay. Next one's gonna be a fun question. What is your alcoholic drink of choice?
Well, in 12 years of sobriety, I would have to say Coffee.
Coffee. Yeah, you can go non-alcoholic drink of choice. Coffee. Okay.
If we go
That's
to
a
a
good
bar,
one.
I'm getting a cup of coffee. Let's put it that way.
All right. That's right. That's right. Coffee. I'm more of a tea guy, to be honest. Yeah. Super
Mm,
into green tea, matcha tea. It's kind of my like usual morning routine, but I just never got on the coffee train and I'm too afraid to get on because I'll never get off,
yeah, you
So
can't
it's
get
like
off.
it's a one-way street, one-way ticket to caffeine town. I'm not gonna get off of that. So I'll just stick with the the simple, the teas, that kind of thing. That's my thing. But okay.
I'm a morning coffee, afternoon tea kind of guy.
Oh, so you do both. I like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
respect that. Very English, I guess, to have a tea time, like designated tea time. So no, that's very cool. Sweet. Let's get into some deep questions. First one's gonna
Uh-oh.
be, how are you doing? But I want you to actually answer the question, how are you doing? Not like I'm fine. Like go like three
Yeah, yeah.
layers deep. 3 layers deep. Yeah.
3 layers deep. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
first layer is I am managing. Um,
Managing. Okay.
yeah, because it's been a hectic year and a half for me, and
Right.
I'm stabilizing, which is
Okay.
good. I'd say deeper. I'm pretty restless. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm getting to the next chapter of my life, and the closer I get, the more restless I get. Like when it's time to move on, it's you get the signs, and
Okay.
so I'm like halfway out the door. But at a
Mm.
deep level, I'm actually surprisingly content, um,
Nice.
because I feel like I've been stripped of everything, and I'm still here, and I'm still moving forward, and that feels really good on a deep level.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. Do you mean like what do you mean by stripped of everything? You mean like emotionally, like physically, like what do you
I
mean
mean
like
everything, dude. I mean,
right.
I've lost. My divorce was painful, and
Okay.
I've lost my wife, my house, my cats. I left
Mm-hmm.
everything in the accounts for her, everything.
Wow.
So, and then my friends are not local. I
Okay.
moved to a new town just to get my head back together. So,
Right.
like, I am literally starting from scratch again.
Mm.
And as painful as that's been, like, it's kind of exciting too.
Yes. Time for, out of the ashes, the phoenix rises, right? So yeah,
Definitely.
something new waking uh, on the doorstep. Okay. Wow. So yeah, I think that makes that's the interesting thing about life. I think we all kind of hope for like a smooth sailing journey, but do we really like need that? I don't know. We all like think that's good, but I think there is something about the bumps and the bruises along the way that like, gives you more character, obviously. So,
Well,
yeah.
I've found that it doesn't give you more character. I think it
Okay.
gives you an opportunity to uncover your character and the stuff that was down there that you
Mm,
didn't know because you didn't need to tap into that.
right.
It'll surprise you.
Okay, so that's your kind of philosophy. I'm gonna dig into this a little bit. So you think more or less you're kind of fully formed from a younger age, and then it's about stripping away the layers to reveal who you are? Or
Mm,
what are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't say you're fully formed. I think
Right.
you have these certain capacities
Mm,
in reserve, and
mm,
when you need them, uh, they'll present themselves, and they will evolve, and they'll grow, and they'll be forged. But
right.
it's like you have these. It's like that DNA that sits in your body and doesn't get switched on.
Okay. Right.
Maybe you carry this gene for some rare ass disease, but it never activates, and you don't even know
Yeah.
about it. But like I've been through a lot of trauma, and people will tell you that, oh, it makes you stronger. It doesn't. It makes you
Mm.
traumatized.
It makes you traumatized.
But the reason you survive it is
Yeah.
because you were strong to begin with. You
Okay.
just didn't realize it.
Wow. Is that a new realization for you, or has this
That
been
is,
like,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
amazing. I respect that. I think I like anything that goes against the grain. So yeah, the whole like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger mantra, you're kind of not a fan of. Yeah.
I just think it's inaccurate.
Inaccurate. Yes, 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 yes. But that's
I like
good.
to say that
Yeah.
whatever doesn't kill you, better run.
Better run. That's amazing. I'm gonna steal that. Whatever doesn't kill you better.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you are going to be tested on the PCT. Do you have like a timeline of when you would like to have it completed by, or is it like
Well,
whenever?
I'm sticking to the because I've never done anything like this before. I'm sticking to the low
Yeah.
mileage one, so
Hmm.
that's a 6 month window.
Okay.
And it averages out. Most people they say do complete around 5 months, but give
Hmm.
yourself the 6 month to
Right.
I can just kind of stroll when I need to.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a good philosophy. I would probably try and do it in something similar. But yeah, definitely be tested. I'm interested to see what your character reveals after that. When you've just been so wet and so cold for 4 months and like wanting the whole thing to end, that's when it really matters. I was in Patagonia in South America in December and doing the W track. It's like it was like 75 miles, and there was 3 or so days where I was just like, this has stopped being cool, but the views are amazing, but like intrinsically I'm dying. So, so you're gonna do that times the like 3,000. So just
Right.
get ready for it. Yeah. Cool. All right. Next question is gonna be a fun question. What is an intrusive thought, a repetitive thought pattern you always seem to have? Anything?
Ooh. Um, I think it's an old one, and
Yeah.
it's like it's some variation of you're not strong enough to do this. You're not going to make it. You
Mm,
can't. It's like this weird childhood protective thought, like don't
okay.
do this. You're going to get. You can't do it. You're not
Right.
strong enough, and like it pops up. Now when it pops up, like I take that as a sign. Like, you know what? I can do this. And
Yeah.
and I get it. Like that old young part in the brain
Right.
needs proof. Like,
Okay.
why wouldn't it think that? Because before, like, I couldn't do things. I
Yeah.
was, I was very wounded for a long time. Like,
Right.
but now it needs that older me to show it. Like, hey, no, no, no. I can show you. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it.
Right. Okay. Do you think that was a product of your environment where you got that message
Oh yeah,
particularly
definitely.
from
Yeah.
parents or siblings or something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got that all the way around, and I
Hmm.
think my brain at that time was just like, hey, you know what? If we just stop trying to do things, we'll
Right.
get through this. We'll be safer.
Oh, wow. I don't think I ever directly got that message. I think birth order does matter a lot. So I was the
Hmm.
youngest, I'm the baby, and so I think that made me a little bit more shy because I would like to see my brother do a certain sport and then I would maybe tag along or something, or he would chart the path and then I'd see if the path was safe and then I'd go for it.
Right,
So
right.
that kind of made me, I think, more hesitant. Like, can I do this? I don't know. So I think I have more of that than my brother probably has, like internal dialogues. And
Yeah,
I don't know if did you have siblings growing up, I guess?
yeah. I have two older brothers and a
Okay.
younger sister,
And the
so I
younger.
I get what you mean. Like, yeah, like
Right.
the kids come along in order, and like the
Yeah.
time you show up, you take whatever job is open in the family. Like, and
Right.
I took the peacemaker, sensitive poet kid role, and
Okay.
it
Yeah.
kind of defined me for too long.
Fertile. So you don't like that label. Yeah.
I don't like any labels, and there's
Ooh.
there's a basis in truth for that one, but like
Yeah.
I get to decide, who I am, and
Right.
I've accepted that I'm multifaceted, as we all are.
Sure. Who's it? Walt
Um,
Whitman? I am human. I contain multitudes or whatever.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a great this writer Jeanette Brown calls it hybrid people. The hybrids are the people who like don't close off any side of themselves.
Okay.
They can exist fully, even when parts of your personality are in conflict.
Right.
They can still move and flow with it.
Hybrid people. Is that
Yeah.
is the name of that the name of the book? Hybrid people?
No, it's just an expression she's
Okay,
developed.
cool. I can look that up. I'm always looking for new philosophies, new ideas. So that is a very good one. This next deep question is kind of in line with this, I guess, but what is your biggest insecurity? Current or past, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Biggest insecurity probably wow. Okay, so surface level probably my body because I
Okay.
have body issues that, I've always been kind of insecure
Is it
about.
possible to not have body issues as a
No,
human?
I was
I feel
about to
like
say
all of
like
us are
I
like,
think we
yeah,
all do.
we're so the media is just
Yeah.
yeah, it's bad. It's a bad situation.
My deeper insecurity I think is directly uh, it's a post-divorce fallout of I do
Hmm.
feel insecure. Like, do I have something to offer somebody again, like a
Okay.
partner, an intimate partner? Like, are they going to see just, look at my history and just see red flags? Like,
Mm,
I know where that comes from, but I do have to be honest that it's still there and I have to
right.
work it out.
Right. Like that's one of the words you said earlier. You said I'm managing.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
managing that, managing insecurities, managing expectations of future partners, managing, the career hurdles and life transitions and job, whatever, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the main word I've drawn from a lot of what you're saying, and I think that's appropriate. Yeah, I think it is very appropriate to be worried about the perception, because we all carry baggage the older we get, right? So
Definitely.
um no one's gonna be that perfect ideal person that no one starting any relationship is going to be like that. So I think hopefully that next person in your life shows you some grace, because I think that's a sign of maturity, obviously. So have you pursued anybody since the divorce? Have you been totally withdrawn? What's your like percentage in the game right now, if you want to
I
call
I
it?
took a I took a hesitant step into it, and
Ah,
it did not go as planned, but that I did
okay.
learn a lot, and it was good.
Shoot
It
your
was like
shot,
a
brother.
Yeah, it was like an icebreaker.
Yeah, okay.
And this time, like, I was actually proud of myself because
Yeah,
I went for it. I initiated it. I was honest with how I felt, and like I put myself out there. And like
right.
I, for someone who's used to holding myself in, I was like, well, that's real
Yeah.
progress.
Heck yeah, man. What was the environment where that happened? I don't know if you want to extrapolate out.
Uh, it was with
Probably
an
wasn't a
old.
bar. I'm assuming it was not a bar
No,
if you're
it's not
sober
a
for
bar.
12 years. Yeah, it's not your scene.
It was a conversation with an old friend that grew into
Okay.
something else.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think that is important. I think I was in a relationship in December that ended, and then I moved to a different state to Washington. So I was kind of just, not even looking basically at the time. But so I think it is appropriate to give yourself however long. Divorce is a mega life change. So take a year, take two, whatever you need. But
Yeah.
um yeah, not letting it hold you back too long, I guess, from whatever you're trying to pursue later. So I think you're striking that balance, right? So
Yeah.
that is very important. But okay, next one. Let's go. Let's back to the fun. You just hit a couple deep ones right there. So I gotta ease up on you. Fun is gonna
I like
be.
that you mix it up.
I do. You
That's
never
a
know what you're gonna get when Tyler talks to strangers. Yeah, let's go. And again, props, because my man doesn't know the questions beforehand. Some people choose to know them. You're like, just shoot at me from the
yeah.
hip, whatever. So again, props to you for taking the challenge on. I respect that. This one's gonna be, what do you hate doing, but it's unavoidable in your life? You have to do it.
Oh, what do I hate doing that's unavoidable? That's a hard one because I do like to embrace the daily activities of life. I
Okay.
find deep meaning in them.
Wow. Nice.
Um, and people are always surprised when when I tell them like I enjoy doing the dishes.
I love the dishes. I
Right?
hate laundry. Laundry and ironing clothes.
Okay,
I would
that's a
pay
good one.
someone to never. I will do dishes by hand, never in a dishwasher.
That is a good one.
Dishwashers suck. Yeah. Okay. Hot take.
Okay, so my answer will be not just laundry, but it's the folding of the laundry.
You like that, or
No, I
it's
don't like
unavoidable.
that.
You
That's
hate that.
unavoidable.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no problem cleaning the clothes, but then that extra step of like that's just annoying.
Props to you. I don't even fold at this point. I just wash them, pull them out, and I throw them in a bin, and they're ready to go. Yeah. No, just kidding. I actually do fold them, but I'm like angry the whole time I'm folding. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
That
I
was that
agree.
was one that was one good thing about marriage, that added level of civilizing influence.
Yes, you got to stay civilized, civilize the savage. That's very true with all
Yeah,
of us.
and
Yeah.
guys will get feral
Yeah.
without that influence on their life.
Have you noticed your own, like, I don't know, your apartment or your house like changing significantly after? Like it's just a mess now. Like, are you pretty on the path? I don't know what you're.
No, I have found that after a few weeks of just chaos because I'm
Right.
in shock. Keeping everything orderly and clean and
Yeah.
simple is actually it's very soothing.
Absolutely. I fully embrace the idea that your environment can dictate your inner, like outer environment can dictate a lot of your inner environment. So
Well, I see it
minimalism and
as a
aesthetic.
reflection. Like
Yeah,
if my mind is chaotic, I might not notice it
right.
until I start to look around. Like, oh no, wait a minute, You know,
Yeah, exactly. What's
I'm letting
happening
things
here?
slip here, so
I
that's a
know.
sign.
Yeah, I definitely try to keep my office and my living situation very organized. I'm not like a germaphobe. I don't like constantly clean stuff, but I
Right?
like constantly like arranging stuff to be organized. Yeah, so I don't
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
clean everything, but I like it to be at least, off surfaces and not cluttered, really. So that's my take on it. But cool. Next one, we're gonna go back to deep. This is more of a fun deep. Fun deep. All right. Hybrid. How do you think the world will end? If you had to bet your life on how the world is going to end, you could say timeline, rough timeline, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. And then I want you to try to write your own narrative of like what would actually cause the human species to become extinct. Yeah.
So how will it end,
Yeah.
and what causes it?
The timeline, rough timeline that you think if you had to project out, and then what causes it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I actually don't think humanity will end. I think what will
Okay.
happen is that I think things will get rough for the next couple of centuries,
Mm,
as we very painfully evolve, and
right,
our technology is taking us. It's already gotten too far ahead of us for us to handle.
right.
And I think what will happen is this will break down what we think of as humanity into a humanity that we probably won't recognize.
Ooh,
In that, I think what's going to happen is that humanity and technology are going to somehow merge. I don't know how, but we're going to hit that point where we have achieved uh, the ability to scatter off the earth. And that's what's going to happen because people,
mm,
you see it in cities when urban sprawl, we tend to take over environments. And once we can do that in space, we're going to.
okay.
And I think what's going to happen is humanity is going to, it's like how the same animal, if you separate them geographically, evolve into different species, and that's what's going to happen to us. We're going to become humanity 2.0, 3.0, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll never
Yes.
truly die. We'll just become
Yeah.
unrecognizable to ourselves.
Oh, I could get on board with that. Do you think, here's the interesting thing, I think it would be stratified by socioeconomic status. I think the first to merge will be the rich, whoever, and then they'll be like, it's like almost like the movie Elysium, where they're living
Hmm.
off on this like
Hmm.
near Earth satellite planet, and then people that can't afford to get onto that spaceship are going to be just stuck, kind of rotting on Earth. So I could see like a whole economic stratosphere of like how humanity is going to evolve based on that. So that might be the driving point, I guess, would be money, but sadly. But I think it is inevitable that we'll merge with technology somehow. I don't think like we're gonna become slave to AI or slave to
No, no.
things. I think we're just gonna become cyborgs and just become the machine, I guess, partly. So I could see that.
Some version of it, but like
Yeah.
we're now that the specter of AI has been released, it's inevitable that
Mhm.
it's going to evolve too, and we're
Right.
going to evolve together whether we like it or not. So
Right. Do you think AI could ever one day have consciousness in the same way a human can,
yeah,
independent of
definitely.
merging with it?
Yeah,
You think so? Okay.
yeah. A
That's
friend pointed out to
phenomenal.
me that
Yeah.
the circuit board at its most basic is kind of a replica of our brains,
Okay.
and so like you make that complicated enough, why wouldn't consciousness emerge in that brain just like it did in
Right.
our brain? And
Yeah.
I took his
Ultimately.
point, like, all right.
Yes. I mean, with the whole chat GPT stuff, I feel like we're closer than we think in a lot of ways. I mean, that thing is gnarly. And so just seeing where that technology is gonna go would be very interesting. But so you think 200 years of kind of tough, road ahead, and then we'll kind of make it through that little bottleneck.
Yeah, because I say 200 years because our technology is it's going to outpace, it's already outpaced us, but it's not something we can stop, and we're going to have to do the rough work of catching up to it, and it's going to be messy,
Right.
but
Yep.
it's inevitable.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I think I know this next question for you. Would you rather write a book or compose an opera?
Okay, obviously I would rather write these books,
Right.
but deep down I would love to compose an opera. That would
Would
be
you? You
awesome.
got a little musical bone in your body? Okay.
No, no, I don't, but I love music. It's
You
like the
love
people
music.
who love art but don't know how to
Yeah.
paint, like, Oh man.
Have you ever dabbled in trying to pick it up at any point?
Yeah, I used to play clarinet and saxophone when I was in high
Yeah, okay,
school, and
nice.
I loved it. But music theory just it's just it's something I can't grasp for some reason.
Yeah. I I could just recreate stuff that other people have done, like give me the tab for a ukulele, I might be able to figure it out in like 2 months, but I cannot like generate a unique note on a ukulele.
Right.
Like there's no chance I could do that. I'm just the most non-creative human like when it comes to music, but I can copy somewhat well. Yeah, so I'll try that. But interesting. Okay. And then we'll go one more deep question. We're bumping up on like a 6 minute mark here. So next one's gonna be, if you couldn't fail, what would you do if you just knew you could not fail?
I knew I could not fail. I think if I knew I couldn't fail, I would recreate some version of um, the social work, the social programs, the community programs that the Panthers started.
Nice.
Not the brazen guns, but the free food for kids, the free healthcare for community, the actual societal
Mhm.
transformative work they tried to do to make communities self-sufficient and take care of each other. Like, I think if I could do that, knowing I wouldn't fail, like we'd be set. We could exist without independent of whoever's on the top and whoever's giving the orders. We
Right.
could take care of each other.
That's amazing. I think that mentality, is so important. I just listened to this a lot of it was a Booker T. Washington podcast on Jocko's podcast. And
Hmm.
the guy that basically Booker T created the Tuskegee Institute and all this stuff for the black community is just amazing to see like what this guy did just after becoming emancipated from being a slave. So I mean,
Hmm.
the idea of the turnaround you can make in just one lifetime, I think was amazing. And then if you get, people, a significant amount of people with that same mindset together and creating something and giving back to their community in some way, just kind of snowballs on top of each other. So
Definitely.
um yeah, I don't know like what the, maybe it was KKK and other things that kind of dismantled a lot of that. Do you know what the downfall of a lot of those things
No,
were?
it's unfortunately and this is not this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's actually
Right,
documented and it's in their own files.
right.
The FBI had a targeted program to dismantle the Panthers and the American Indian movement and the Young Lords of New York.
Mm,
All those groups that were about self-determination for their communities in
right,
the late 60s, they all realized at the same time, like, hey, we're all different races and different communities, but we
right.
want the same thing. So
Yeah.
what if we all got together? And they actually, literally, no joke, called it the Rainbow Coalition.
Wow.
And the FBI saw this and said, no. And they crushed it. And we have never recovered, in my opinion.
Yeah. That is wild that something so united could be destroyed by your own government, right? I think that is just, yeah. I know there's a lot of conspiracy stuff, but like some of the stuff behind MLK's downfall and all that, I mean, there's like you said, there's now uncovered documents about it. So
Well, seriously,
sad.
go read the COINTELPRO papers. It's
Hmm.
in their own records.
Yeah.
It's like they're not even
Right.
trying to hide
They can't hide the truth.
it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that'll be my homework, reading the COINTELPRO. Yeah. Documents, live leak on all the famous forums online. So I will take that home. And final question though, I always end with this, is if you were in my shoes, in my seat, what would you ask about your fellow human on this planet? And what would you want to know about their story?
I would want to know, how do you want to be in the world? What's your
Mm,
vision for existing in the world and touching other people? And
yeah.
what's that guiding deep down ethos?
I love that. Yeah. What's your vision and picture? I don't know what mine would be exactly. I think I find a lot of purpose and challenge myself physically for whatever reason. So whether it's an Ironman, whether it's a future PCT, whether it's, the 10-day meditation retreat, whatever. I try to do different things outside of my comfort zone physically, typically, that I can aspire to and hopefully inspire other people to whatever. It doesn't have to be the same level by any means, but whatever their current limiting belief is physically that they don't think they can attain, hopefully through all the crazy goals that I have. And if people want to follow that journey or whatever, then they can take some piece of that and and just kind of like, I just want to see people overcome their own limitations. I think that so much of it
Oh,
is self-imposed, and so
yeah,
if I could leave that as a lasting legacy, to just like, you have more in the tank, generally speaking, than you think, and you can push yourself a little bit harder and pursue whatever goal you want if you really make it a meaningful thing for you. So that's kind of hope one of my animating forces in life is in driving kind of
that's great, man.
thing.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be
You're
mine.
saying like I'm gonna forge myself as an inspiration so you can do the
Yeah.
same.
Right. I
Yeah.
want to be like David Goggins, but like minus like 10,000. He's just like, I never want to be David Goggins, but I want to be like a footnote in like the David Goggins book or something.
Goggins, but sane.
Like Goggins would say, yeah, very much so. That's what I would like. So cool. Well, I thank you for taking the time to talk to me today,
Thank you,
sir.
man. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Of course. To everybody out there listening, I thank you for your support. This is Tyler telling you to go talk to a stranger. Peace.